Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding. Motion. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something, let's just say, stupid that some people do. And yeah, I've spent my time being stupid sometimes too. It's not like I'm impervious to stupidity. It does happen. The only thing I am going to say is that if you're one of these monsters that have access to the Wi-Fi in the woods, don't go to my website. I mean, there's enough problem with people who use my workout programs in this area and start becoming man-eating sort of carnivore monstrosities. You know, I don't want to have that heat on my YouTube channel, you know, just because I'm selling workout programs. I can't control who's buying them. I can't control it. But, you know, I'm just going to make a friendly request. If you're a Sasquatch living in the woods, don't buy my program, okay? You hear that? Eh? And this is spurred from a question that was asked to me in the comments, and it was a legitimate question. This one guy said, hey, he feels a little burned out, and when he's training, he feels like 4 sets is enough for him. And is that okay? Can he gain muscle with 4 sets in a workout? Now, of course, this is always going to depend on how much frequency you do in your training. But if we're going to look at what it takes for your body to receive a message, you hear that? Eh? You know, of some sort of stimulation, and whether it receives that message loud and clear or whether it's too subtle, right? I would say anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 sets is enough for the muscle to say, hey, I need to adapt to this type of exercise, right? And yeah, some people say, hey, Jason, 1 set's enough. If I train that body part every day, 1 set's enough. You know what? You might be right. You might be right about that. I'm not even saying no to the 1 set philosophy when it comes down to the right frequency. The only thing I've said no to is the 1 set philosophy once every 2 or 3 weeks, and then assuming that would be enough. Well, I would say no. 100% that's not enough. See, they're cowards, see? Cowards, not showing themselves, you see? You know, they know the big boss man is here. And when the big boss man comes, then they hide a little bit. That's what happens. So that's a good thing, you know. If you're using my workout programs, that's the benefit. If you're using my workout programs, then the other monsters that are using workout programs will be afraid of you. They'll be a little afraid, you know. They won't mess with you. So yeah, it's better than having a gun in your house. Having one of my workout programs helps protect your family. That's really what you need to remember. But what I really want to make a point about is what a stupid way to train is to change your bodybuilding workouts into endurance workouts. Because I've seen some people make comments and say, you know, it's all about volume, just do more volume and then you get more muscle. And it's like, that's absolutely not true. Because there is a certain window of where your muscle has enough energy in order to explosively contract those fast twitch fibers along with work those strength endurance fibers. And when that energy diminishes, now you're working more the energetic systems rather than really stimulating the muscle fibers. Now, I'm not saying there's no stimulation going on, but if we're going to talk about efficient stimulation without getting to a nervous system or metabolic burnout, one could safely say that there is a point to where you're doing too many sets, where the workouts are becoming more endurance workouts rather than muscular growth workouts. And back in the day, my workouts were always around 45 minutes to an hour long. Sometimes an hour and 15 if I was going to do a little bit more sets, but most of the time my workouts were around 45 minutes to an hour long. And the reason why was because I knew that the muscles I was working only had so much energy in order to push them where they maintained a certain amount of strength. And then there was this drop-off point where I noticed that my muscles just didn't have the push anymore. There was not that explosiveness there. So my weights would come down or my reps would come down drastically. And it felt at that point, I was just working more the energetic side of things, more the metabolic side of things, instead of actually stimulating the muscle fibers. So the thing is about bodybuilding is that it's all about stimulation, but it's also about having enough resources to recuperate. And one could argue that if you're energetically burning too many calories, just burning energy for the sake of it, that your body may struggle to recuperate. Now, this threshold will be different for each person, But what I'm going to say is that you want to lean more towards the anaerobic side of things. You don't want to turn your bodybuilding workouts into these long endurance workouts. And if you do it for short periods of time, realize that it's not a good way to go forever. I mean, I'm not saying you can't push the limits here and there. Sometimes you want to just push into higher volume, and I've done that, and I do that once in a while. That's a funny word. So sometimes I do that, but it's not something that you can maintain for long periods of time because you will start to burn out. And at the same time, one could argue you might not be getting the most efficient results from that, right? So for instance, today I did 3 sets of flat dumbbell press, and then I did 2 sets of incline, and then I did 3 sets of bent over barbell rows, and then 3 sets of incline dumbbell curls, and that was my total workout. I was just in and out, but very powerful workout because I took those sets to absolute failure. I really pushed the muscles, and that's really what you want. So as much as I don't agree with the Mike Mentzer HIIT training system, I do agree that intensity plays a very real role. And you don't want to diminish the intensity so much in order to have higher volume. And at the same time, you're going to notice that there's only so many sets you can do if you're really pushing the limits. If you're really pushing yourself in those sets, you're not going to be able to do these massively long endurance workouts, right? So that's a different way of training. If you're going to do super high volume training, one could say that the German volume training session might be more appropriate, where you're not taking the sets to failure. You're just trying to acclimate the muscles to feeling a certain amount of weight, which I've talked about in another video. But in the end, what I always return back to is shorter workouts, not massive amounts of sets, but higher amounts of intensity and the frequency necessary in order for the muscles to be almost recovered, but not totally. I find training once every 2 days on a body part seems to work great for me because my muscles are just a tiny bit tight. They still have the coordination and the groove, but at the same time, they're not broken down so much because I am doing lower volume type of work. Mountain. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I have some sticks out here that are for sale, right? I don't know if you guys have been to my website lately, Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. I do have workout programs on there. You know, feel free to peruse through there. But if you're an advanced trainee, you might want to buy one of my exercise sticks. So exercise sticks are something that, well, let me just show you an example here. An exercise stick here, you know, this is a very sturdy stick. This one, there's 10% off this one. 10% off for a simple price of $1,999. You can have an exercise stick. See, look, curls at each side, just like that. You know, shoulder presses, right? I'll tell you, this stuff's genius, you know? It's genius. So yeah, make sure you check out my website. Lots of different fitness products and stuff in there.